Banks, building societies and asset managers have warned the Chancellor over proposed changes to the cash ISA regime. The Chancellor is reported to be considering a £4,000 limit on how much people can put into the cash ISAs on a tax-free basis per year. That would be down from the current £20,000 a year ceiling. Well, unsurprisingly, one such critic is from the Yorkshire Building Society. They've written to the Chancellor to caution against the idea. Tom Ranger is Yorkshire Building Society's Chief Financial Officer. And as you can see, joins me now. Tom, very good morning to you. What are your concerns?
Look, I think cash ISAs have been the cornerstone of the UK savings market, helping millions of people build financial resilience, and especially those on low incomes. I think 47% of cash ISA balances are held by people who earn less than £20,000. And our research here at Yorkshire Building Society has shown that over 60% of our members actually are unlikely to move from cash into stocks and shares. And that also links with some interesting research from the Building Society Association that said that 73% of UK adults are against the UK government reducing or scrapping the cash allowance. And it's vital for the wider economy. So if I think about building societies, 40% of our funding comes from cash ISAs, and that funding is deployed into the UK mortgage market, and for the building society sector, particularly for first-time buyers, where we punch considerably above our weight.
In saying that, Tom, I mean, the government's point of view is pretty clear on this. They say the stock market has outperformed cash over the last couple of decades, and also they want to boost the domestic stock market. This is a way of doing it, and obviously you guys have got a self-interest, but you've been overly cautious here, that kind of we need to become more like the Americans, if you like.
Yeah, look, I think, we're not against stocks and shares ISAs. In fact, people have the option today. I think what we are saying is that people should have that choice. And alongside that choice, we think there should be a programme of education around the different risks associated. Latest polls have shown that 90% of savers actually want to guarantee their capital back, which is something you wouldn't necessarily be guaranteed if you moved into stocks and shares ISAs. So absolutely not against it as a product. We just think there should be choice. And with that choice should be cash ISAs that we also think play a vital role for the UK economy through mortgage lending.
Yeah, in saying that, we're trying to find economic growth here. The government thinks this is a good idea. And you talked about education there. It isn't one part of the problem in the UK is that we are too focused on cash. We're too risk averse. We're not, in a sense, entrepreneurial in some ways. And I mean that as being just a retail investors. Sometimes you may well need to do.
Yeah, and certainly you can see that kind of argument from the government. I think we're absolutely not saying that that stocks and shares ISAs, shouldn't be available for consumers. We just think they should have that choice, and therefore scrapping or cutting the cash ISA allowance is going to negate that choice for savers in the UK. It should be noted that I think over 35% of cash ISA balances today are with people aged over 55. And I question how much volatility they would want in their savings balances going forward. So I think choice is important. I think cash ISAs are important. I think stocks and shares ISAs are important. But we shouldn't underestimate the impact that reducing that limit or removing that limit would have on the UK economy through the housing market. OK,
I'm sure you're probably hoping for another Chancellor U-turn on all of this. Tom, we really appreciate your time this morning, live from Leeds, from the Yorkshire Building Society. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
OK, let's return to a bit more on those.